All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, fellow Pandemonium travelers, this is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown, day 368 by my count. It's an empty highway, which is fitting for not just 2020, but also rolling right on into 2021, I suppose. So what's going on? What's going down? We've got, I don't know, it's just endless madness. Okay. I want to talk and maybe have a little bit of a ramble here about abstractions, okay? So there's me right now driving a car. And what is directly in front of me, okay? There's not a mushroom cloud on the horizon. There's not an alien mothership coming down. There's just the highway like there is every day, and the traffic that is or is not in front of me, okay? So, what I often do on this program is talk about abstractions of things that are not happening in the video, okay? I'm talking about things I was told are going on somewhere else. Obviously not happening directly in front of me unless I'm yelling at traffic, which does happen from time to time. So look, the abstractions have become a kind of obsession. I think I tweeted something to this effect yesterday while I was thinking about this, that we as a culture are obsessed with abstractions in the sense that we have literacy for one, right? So what this allows us to do, and video and other audio recordings and stuff. So what this allows us to do is observe something happening as though it's happening in front of us, but it didn't actually happen in front of us. Someone else, by some other means, demonstrated to us that this happened, right? So I watch a video of George Floyd and Chauvin's knee on his neck, and it looks a certain way to me, and then I interpret it and then share it with everyone else, and a lot of people share the same interpretation. Again, the video is an abstraction of reality. Like, there's reality, and then there's that which documented the reality, right? The video. So you can't hop in the video, walk around, go and intervene in what's going on. No, it is a static piece of documentation of a certain sequence of events that occurred at some other time and place. Like, I've never been to Minneapolis. I'm told, like, to be a little bit dense about it, it's like, I've never been to Minneapolis, so I don't necessarily know that Minneapolis even exists, right? I'm pretty sure it exists because there's very little reason for everyone to lie about the existence of Minneapolis, let alone the existence of the Minneapolis Police Department, let alone the existence of George Floyd and the events that led to us having to know who Derek Chauvin is, right? Like, in a parallel timeline, no one knows who this guy is, and everything worked out fine that day, and, no one knows who George Floyd is either, I suppose, right? But again, now we get to things like opinion and analysis. This is kind of what I do on this program every day, is I try to articulate what I think is going on. So you're listening to an abstraction of my interpretation of abstractions created by other people about what is going on, about the actual thing that's happening. So, for example, supposedly our southern border is getting overwhelmed by migrants. Okay? Happened under Trump, was reduced a bit under Trump. Then they ended our policies. They kind of hinted at amnesty, so of course this causes a mass wave of, migrants from Central and South America, as well as all the way from Africa. And somehow some of them end up all the way in Montana, which basically means Canada, which means that this whole situation is completely out of control. But the line was NASA, the headline, NASA considering housing migrant children at one of their facilities. Okay, this leads to easy jokes like, yes, just launch children into space. Like, that's how we'll colonize, the galaxy, is just start launching children. It doesn't matter what country they're from, just launch them. Not all of them are going to make it anyway, so, you just launch them. And so, the humor's there, obviously, and the jokes kind of write themselves, but I didn't actually read the article. I saw the headline, and I said, well, yeah, NASA has some big, I kind of extrapolated from the headline, like, well, NASA has some facilities, and they have a budget, and they could probably pull something off, and it's obviously a symbolic gesture that NASA, we care about space, but we also care about humans here on Earth, right? Which is fine. I mean, I guess. I'm not telling people to not be compassionate, but that's an abstraction. Again, so I think it might have been Breaking 911, and Breaking 911 are partisan, sensationalist online news. They are. They also cover things other outlets won't, which is partially why they're useful. I think that was where I saw the headline. And so the thing is that what we're talking about is an abstraction of the idea that NASA has some facilities and that they will, they'll be able to house migrant children, and again, as though that's like a solution to the problem of there being lots of an overwhelming number of children being trafficked across our southern border. Okay, that's not a solution, but again, I'm reading an abstraction of reality created by somebody who probably wasn't there to hear what this person, what somebody from NASA said. So somebody from NASA gave a statement saying that somewhere, maybe in an email or a memo, but the person who wrote the headline I saw wasn't present for the actual person to make that statement. So they heard it from a person who heard it maybe from the person who made the statement, which doesn't mean that that's real at all. It just means someone said, maybe, hey, what if we did XYZ? Maybe we could help. And so now it becomes, yes, launch children into space is the joke, but how do you actually verify whether anybody actually is, one, offered such a thing, two, is actually capable of providing it, and three, will actually do it? Because again, these are we're at so many levels of abstraction from reality. Again, as I drive you through the city and you see what's happening in front of me, this is the reality, the emergent reality unfolding right in front of me. So as soon as I start talking about anything that's not immediately happening in front of me, it's an abstraction. And this is where the fuckery begins. Because at some point, things have to become essentially verified by whatever criteria being verified means. How do I know anything that I read, especially online, is actually real? I go back to the Boston bombing. I'll tell you, that's a fun story. The Boston Marathon was bombed back in 2010 or something? I'm trying to remember. 2011. And at the time, Twitter was still the celebrity platform where celebrities posted pictures of their dinner. And I was like, okay, I'll try to Twitter. And so I used it the way I thought I was supposed to use it, which meant following celebrities and comedians and stuff. Well, Olivia Wilde, the actress, retweeted a video of the bombs going off at the Boston bombing. And I was like, oh, okay. So, this is like a movie. Like, she's working on a movie or something, and this is like a behind-the-scenes shot. It's literally what I thought. That's how normie I was at the time. And then more videos. Oh, bombing in Boston. Oh, and then graphic videos. Oh, so the real bombs blew people up. So I go over to my Google, and I'm like, well, what's the news? Who's got the story about there's explosions? I'm watching videos of, like, explosions and people, dismembered and whatnot for, like, it seemed like hours and hours, and I was like, is this really happening? I can't find a source or a newspaper, an outlet that's covering it, till finally, it was like the Boston Globe got a story up, and then they were like, oh, there they are. Here's what's going on. And it was like, at that point, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, this is real. I was watching it with my own eyes, unfolding one level of abstraction away. Like, someone else posted the video, so that's one person's video angle on the event. So now, me seeing it and me telling you about it, then that becomes you are now the second level of abstraction away from me seeing the abstraction. So that's 2 levels, right? But not knowing whether it was real or not, even though I was seeing it with my own eyes, but it was an abstraction delivered to me via the internet. So think about that. When we're talking about things like news cycles and things, they literally, during the Trump era, they came up, they literally said in at least one, like, Washington Post article that I remember, they said, according to a source familiar with Trump's thinking. So this is an abstraction by a reporter of an abstraction by someone else claiming they understand how Donald Trump thinks. And now once you read it, you become the next level of abstraction. So it's like we're all rampaging around chasing figments of our own imagination and then calling ourselves basically right or wrong or moral or not based on, again, abstractions extrapolated from abstractions. And then you wonder why people are like sort of just like lurching through reality and being wrong all the time and making stupid choices and having stupid opinions. And some of this is intentional, by the way. It's intentionally obfuscated in order to control you. Like, that's the kind of my point, is be aware that the abstractions become intentional at some point. So, there's that. There's a war on for your mind. Infowars.com. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.